Hey everyone, welcome to the VENDO podcast. I'm Pablo Solar-Sanchez. I am a Walmart account manager and advertising account manager for Walmart.com. We also have Daniel Rodriguez, who is our content associate manager. So what we're going to go through today is kind of just talk about Walmart.com and the kind of changing landscape with content, and go into details of what makes a good PDP, what does Walmart specifically look for to hit that 95% content score, things that as a brand, as a supplier, we can change on our PDP, and just tips and tricks just to help to get that content score higher on Walmart.com. So first thing I wanted to ask you, Daniel, is when you're going through a brand's particular content and just looking at through their items in Item 360, what are some tips and tricks that you have for increasing that overall content score?
Yeah, thank you, Pablo, for introducing me. And this is my first time on the podcast, and I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, like I deal with content every single day. And sometimes I'm dealing with some brands that just have their content and assets all over the place. You know, they have like less than 2 images, the site description is not up to date, or it has wrong information, product titles way too long. Walmart's a different beast. They have their own kind of like niche way of like having to optimize their products on .com, and a lot of it comes from like the Walmart style guides that they have. You know, I usually just kind of abide to what they recommend, that how we should optimize our stuff and present our brands and products on Walmart.com. So the way I like to like really go in and dig deep on these when I'm optimizing listings is I always like to keep it simple. I don't like my product titles to be completely long and just have a bunch of like information because that's not how it works on Walmart. You know, usually
it's more for Amazon, right?
Yeah, Amazon, you can go ahead and put as much as you want, and you can make it a paragraph long and it'll be just fine, because that's how their keyword research is, right? On Walmart is completely different. It actually negatively affects how you rank on site, because you know they favor a more simple and just like clean product title. So when it comes to product titles, I would say keep it simple, and that goes for everything else as well. Site descriptions, try not to go more than 1,000 characters. You know, keep it conversational, fun, and easy to read. And the same thing goes with the key features. Like these are all different elements of the product page, and I believe that like if you keep it simple, there's no way that you can go wrong and fail on Walmart.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think Walmart keeps the same philosophy when looking at Walmart.com. They're all about the customer. So as a customer, it can be overwhelming when, like, for example, you're shopping on Amazon and you see these product titles that have over 100 characters that are just super long, these key features that just go on forever. And Walmart has a different approach when it comes to content. They want to keep it simple. They want to inform the customer in a concise way. So what you're saying, Daniel, I think it's a great strategy to kind of follow Walmart style guide and just in general try to keep things simple. So I know myself, I've gone through those style guides, and sometimes they can be really long. They have 70, 80 pages in those PDFs. How do you manage to go through everything and make sure that we cover everything that Walmart wants, or that for example, put yourself in the shoes of a brand new supplier? How do you take in all the information that Walmart provides for their style guide?
Well, to be honest, man, it's just a matter of like repeating, you know, after you notice a couple things like that, because that's all I deal with is I literally live, breathe Walmart style guides. So after a certain like amount of time, you just kind of start noticing a pattern. And especially when you're trying to increase content scores, you kind of notice what are the things that really have a big weight on content scores, because essentially these scores are what measure how great your pages are, right? And I basically could do this with my eyes closed, and you know, yeah, after a while, you just kind of get understand the way Walmart works, you know.
Yeah.
But I want to continue and just give our audience like more tips and tricks on how to like really increase your product scores. One thing that I really notice is that it's best to, let's say you have a different item, like a bunch of items across like your catalog, and you're trying to optimize every single listing. I think being able to standardize like some sort of uniformity and like and everything, like the way your product titles are structured, the way your images are laid out, the way like the structure of your site descriptions, it'll be best if you can kind of like develop some sort of like standard way of like having each structure to have. So what I'm trying to say, if a certain product title has a certain like image count that you're trying to hit, make sure that you get that across all your items, you know, or if there's a certain way you want to lay out your imagery, like if you want to start off with like a hero image, always follow up with an infographics, and then your lifestyles, make sure that they all have the same kind of standard of how to look, because it looks a lot cleaner across all your items instead of it's just everything's all scattered, different image counts, different product title character counts, and it just looks kind of funky, and it kind of just, I think the customer really appreciates or like organization and just kind of consistency, because they'll be able to like understand like, oh, I can trust this brand, and
Totally.
I want to buy from them more, right?
Yeah, I think they really appreciate the consistency to what you said. You know, I've definitely shopped on Walmart.com, and I'm comparing products from the same brand, and you know, one product has like 2 images, has a very short description, and then I'm looking at like a different flavor from the same brand, and it
Right.
has like a ton of images, full description, and it just kind of creates an inconsistent shopping experience because from there, I have to really compare what I want. I have to go to Amazon or go to the brand's D2C site to kind of do more research, and it just kind of slows down the process.
Mhm.
And I'd rather go to brands that have their content, and I can go and easily, especially like when I'm shopping in stores and not all the information is on the product, I can easily go into the app, and I expect to have consistent image count, to have all that description there to kind of inform me when making my decision.
Yeah, and you bring up a really good point. Not only should you expect consistency as a customer, but you should expect that all the information on that product page is correct. You know, you don't want to be led astray and like you order the image, the product, and it comes in, and it's like this is not exactly what was advertised online. So you know, being able to like optimize like how accurate your information is online just can go a long way. You know, consistency, make sure that everything makes sense, you know, in terms of like the information that you put on. Because I mean, at the end of the day, if Walmart flags it like for being incorrect, you know, it could lead to a lot of bad consequences. So I mean,
Totally.
I always say that that even all the information that you put on the front end is just as important as the information that you update in the back end with all the attributions, you know,
Mm-hmm.
making sure that you enter the most valid inputs on those, because the more correct your information is on both sides, the more your content scores increase, you know.
Yes,
So
totally agree. And I know Walmart's made this a priority. I mean, content's always been important for Walmart.com, but it's really taken a huge priority starting around August 2020
yeah.
when stores and .com merged together.
Mhm.
There's been a huge emphasis on getting content scores up. It differs by department, but overall, merchants are looking for brands to hit that 95% score, in some cases 99%. So yeah, you'll need your imagery, your description, your reviews. That's all important. And the merchants themselves do have some influence into the content score. It's minimal, but they can influence certain attributes to have a larger weight to the overall content score.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's pretty consistent on what constitutes a strong content score from product category to product category. It's like Daniel, like you said, it's just hitting those essential and core fundamentals within the PDP that will really help drive that content score to get that 95%.
Yeah, and it's crazy now, like Walmart's demanding no less than 90% on these content scores, so it's getting to the point where like it's a huge focus on Walmart.com and how you rank and searchability, and it ties in directly to everything, so the more pressure they put on content scores, the more like I think I have to do a better job on optimizing my listings, and this is like just the way that I work on and optimize my listings across different brands, and and it's definitely has been, I think I've done a pretty good job at it.
Yeah.
So, but
Totally.
enough, like I know my job is content, right? Content. I do what I can, and by abiding by the Walmart style guide. Once I optimize content scores and listings and all that, how does that then affect our sales?
Totally. Happy to go into that. So, I mean, ultimately, the reason that Walmart makes content such a high priority is to help improve conversion, both for Walmart.com and in stores. Starting with Walmart.com, having a high content score helps improve your conversion rate. When personally working with all my brands that are advertising with us, this plays a huge factor in the conversion rates. Obviously, it differs from category to category when advertising on Walmart.com, but it can make a huge difference going from 7 to 10% and jumping all the way to 20, 25%. With some grocery brands, we're seeing conversion rates of up to 80, 90%. So that content score plays a huge factor in improving your conversion rate, which will help when you're advertising with ROAS, but in general, just help a greater return on those impressions overall. And then likewise in stores, consumers are always shopping with their phone, and they're looking up the products, and having a PDP with a high content score is more likely the customer will feel fully informed when making their decisions and more likely to purchase products that they have a few uncertainties about or just want to get more general information. The PDP is there for that exact reason. So that's why Walmart is even pushing for that 95% content score is not only for items that are available to purchase on Walmart.com, but also in-store only items. It's also really important to hit that 95%. Yeah, it's really to improve conversion to help get those sales up. Any final tips for a brand working in Item 360? Any tips and tricks to get your content to get pushed through?
Yeah, I mean, I think being very patient with Item 360 is a really good tip and trick. And if some of your updates never go through, don't be scared to try it again and over again until it actually like updates online, because that's just like the nature of Item 360 and the way Walmart systems go. You just have to be very persistent, but also very up for the challenge, because I think me and you both know that it is quite a challenge to work with Walmart, especially right now.
Yeah.
They're updating their systems very consistently, and so we just have to roll with the punches there. But that's pretty much it.
No, I totally agree, especially even when looking at Solar-Sanchez, a system that they've kind of worked on more recently. So it has some additional features that Item 360 doesn't necessarily have. But nonetheless, it's still a bit of a buggy system trying to improve content sometimes, especially its inaccuracy in providing accurate content authorship information. So some of those content updates will say that they were successful and pushed through, but as a brand, you don't necessarily always own your PDP's content. So working through Seller Center support system, working with their team to kind of help get that resolved can sometimes be a tedious task. So like you said, Daniel, patience will be really important when updating your content on Walmart.
Yeah, that's what I've learned so far, man. But,
totally.
Cool, man. I'm glad that we're able to have this conversation between, content guy over here and sales guy over there. And, I think the more we work with each other, the more we are able to understand more about e-commerce and the space that it comes with, So it was really nice talking to you, Pablo.
Yeah. I was very happy to be able to join you, Daniel, for this podcast.
Nice.
Until the next one.
All right, man. Cheers.
Thanks.